Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Good to have you here, as always. So this week, we're looking into conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theories.
Not conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
And your conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, conspiracy theories, propaganda, and other lies that Nazis, skinheads, racists all over the world since the 1930s have actually believed. Yeah. So grab your tinfoil hat, do your stiff arm salute, and let's all march down to Antarctica. And grab yourself your Pepsi, creamy soda variety this week, or your popcorn or whatever. And hey, if you want to support me and buy me a Pepsi, much appreciated. All the links are in the description below. Yeah. Now, conspiracy theories, yeah, the world's full of them. Everyone believes them, from flat earth to, dinosaurs not existing, whatever. It was your tinfoil hat. Now, I was aware of a lot of them, but when I started getting involved with the skinheads in Australia, and then, when I became a hammerskin, I became aware of so many different conspiracy theories and propaganda. These movements do rely heavily on propaganda. It's brainwashing, they're going to feed you certain information just to further their cause and to solidify you being there. When it comes to some of these really far-flung conspiracy theories, I sat there and went, how can anyone believe this? Now, I have always been a skeptic, so I questioned everything. And when I started hearing some of these theories, I just quietly listened and went, oh, okay, no, this can't be real. And more so, why do these guys actually believe this? So let's talk about some of these conspiracy theories and propaganda stories that I heard. Now, the first one, which kind of really struck me as being unbelievable, was a book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Now, this book actually does exist, but the book was actually an anti-Semitic propaganda book, and apparently it's the rules for, the elders and how to weaken the Western society, and it's, like basically a checklist of how to, wage war against the Western world, against the non-Jewish people. And the book was actually written in 1903, and it was by Russian anti-Semitics who actually wrote it and distributed it. So many of the skinheads and the Nazis could quote a lot of the passages from this book. The one that struck me that my Hamskin brother told me was, give the Goyim's degradation for it weakens them, referring to pornography, thing that weakens, like non-Jewish people. Offer it to them. And he said, that's why all the Jews own like the porn companies and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe they're just smart businessmen. But the book has been widely dismissed, and it is just propaganda. And the next one, this one's even more unbelievable, and it's, I'll tell you why. Now, this came from the same guy about the Holocaust on trial. Yes, apparently in the 90s, there was a secret inquest into the Holocaust, this big court, inquest into actual facts about the Holocaust. And, they brought in all these experts who, tested the walls of the chambers for Zyklon B and never found them. And, the chimneys were built after the war. And one of the facts that he loved to state was a modern crematorium can only burn a body every 8 hours. How were they managing to burn 1,000 in a day at the camps? The truth is a modern crematorium can actually burn a body in 2 to 3 hours. When I questioned him about the book, because I said, I would like to read this. I would like to actually see it. He's like, oh, no, all the findings from the trial were suppressed in this book, like there's only a couple of copies of it existing in the world and no one's actually ever seen a copy of it. Right. It's kind of like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot, maybe. Yeah, so even when I did my own research into this book, I could find nothing online. The only findings I could even related to it, and a lot of where this comes from, is Ernst Zundel, who's, huge Holocaust denier. Now, he actually references studies done by a man called Luchter, who did the tests about Zyklon B and everything, which also have been widely dismissed. So the majority of it has come from Holocaust denial. There's never been any trial. There's never been any book about it all. All right, and now we get on to some more modern ones, and some that are still actually widely believed today, not just by the Nazis, not just by the white supremacists, well, mostly by them. And the first one is called Zog. Yeah, when I first heard this, I was like, Zod?
Kneel before Zod.
No, Zog. Zionist occupied government. Now, this has been around for a while, that the Jews actually run the Western world. They own all the corporations, are the puppet masters controlling the entire West, and they are the world, and blah, 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 blah. And, this has been, like I said, it's been widely believed by many throughout the years. And even Robert Crumb, who was a really well-known underground artist, very controversial, but he did a comic called What If the Goddamn Jews Took Over America? Now, this is a total tongue-in-cheek piss take on that conspiracy theory. He didn't actually believe it himself. The guy also created the Fritz the cat. But I'm getting off the topic. Zionist occupied government. Yeah, most of them believe this. That's why there are, songs written about fighting Zog. But in reality, if the Jews are running the Western world, if they're behind everything, they're doing a pretty shit job at it. All right, so this is kind of, a bit of a 2-for-1. And the Great Replacement Theory, which is not that great, it is also based on the white genocide theory, which is actually started by David Lane. And it is basically where they're bringing in all these minorities or the immigrants and everything to replace the white men. Yeah, so they're basically like plucking up the white man, like, no, you go over there, we'll replace you with an immigrant. There's never actually been any evidence of that. I've never seen a white man being plucked out of his home and sent to another place. The next minute there's a, Indian immigrant living in his house. So yeah, the Great Replacement Theory, white genocide, is just the boast of white supremacist ideology. They're replacing us. Don't let them replace you. Don't let these immigrants in. That's all racist rhetoric, but it's fortified by these conspiracy theories, white genocide, Great Replacement. Yeah, no, trust me, they're not trying to replace you. And then even, similar, which is, it's widely believed by many, many different groups, not just white supremacists, not just Nazis, but NWO, New World Order. Along the same lines, as all the rest, with, Zionist occupied government and the replacement theory and all that, the New World Order. Basically, all the big businessmen are, going to run the world and take over and all that kind of stuff. And, there is a little bit of basis in it, a lot of what we see in our world with government types are kind of influenced by corporations. It's kind of obvious, but the New World Order believes that there is actually like a council order. These big businessmen sit in secret and plan the world and how it's all going to go. And again, if they are, they're doing a really shit job of it. The world ain't such a great place at the moment, so maybe they need to step it up and turn it into a nice world order. Yeah, there's an idea for you. And on to something a little bit more modern. Yeah, one for modern times. The Great Reset. Yeah, it's another one of those worldwide global conspiracies, mostly adopted by white supremacists. And it came about during COVID, where they're like, oh, we're going to reset the world by wiping everyone out. Yeah. Didn't quite work. That one's still ongoing. They're still building it. So, stay tuned for more on the Great Reset. So let's talk about some of the wildest theories. Mostly come from Nazi Germany, yeah. But these ones have carried on through history through the tellings of all the neo-Nazis and all the Nazi lovers and sympathizers. Yeah.
I know nothing. Nothing.
First one is Thule Society, which is actually true. It did actually exist. It was well known. It was an early Germanic society based around the occult. Yeah, so a lot of these guys, practiced the occult, and they had rituals and they looked into different religions and all that kind of stuff. But where it kind of gets a bit nuttier is, Thule Society apparently had links to Satanists and all these different groups, and even Adolf Hitler was a member, and he was using it mostly to find these ancient religious artifacts like the Spear Longinus, the Ark of the Covenant. It's actually been referenced in a lot of movies.
1937, Hitler joins the Thule Society, a group of German aristocrats obsessed with the occult. 1938, he acquired the Spear of Longinus, which pierced the side of Christ. He who holds it becomes invincible. Hitler's power increases tenfold.
Hitler was never a member of Thule Society. Two of the most famous Nazis, Rudolf Hess and Hans Frank, were. So yeah, it does have bases. They believe it. They believe it. Hitler had the Spear Longinus, yeah, and that's how he invaded Poland. Oh, and if you thought that one was wild, wait till you hear this one. Now, this one, for me, is actually a new one. I only heard about this recently. And it's about the discovery of Buddhist monks in Berlin, after the downfall of Berlin. Apparently, Russian soldiers came across the bodies of 4 Buddhist monks dressed in green robes. And apparently they were executed by the SS. And that is apparently a link to the Tibetans, to the Buddhists. There was actually an expedition before the war into Tibet. Now, the Nazis were trying to find the roots of the Aryan people, and they found it in Tibet. Now, there's never actually been any evidence of these Buddhist monks in Berlin. Another one of those Nazi wise tales. All right, now here's my 2 personal favorites. Yeah. These ones are awesome. First one is the secret Nazi base in Antarctica. I believe it's called New Schwabenland. Now, apparently they built a secret base deep in Antarctica. Later on, someone actually did go on an expedition to find it. Of course, he never did. And he didn't find Hitler on his T-Rex either.
Good.
But the next one is the best one of them all. The Nazi moon base. Yep, apparently Nazis were way ahead of the space race and rocket technology, way more advanced than what we thought. And they actually went to the moon and they built a Nazi moon base, yeah. It's shaped like a swastika, of course. Now, of course, these are just absolute fantasy. They're not even conspiracy theories. I mean, the Antarctica one, yes. The moon base, not a chance. But we'll never know because apparently it's on the dark side of the moon.
The dark side of the moon!
As like many of these theories, they do have some foundation, not necessarily a foundation of truth, but maybe even they had plans. They had plans to build an Antarctica, or they wanted to go to the moon, and that's kind of where it steamrolled. But it always surprised me how many of the skinheads and the Hamskins and the guys I knew believed these, even believed the Antarctica base, and a couple believed the moon base theory. I'm like, okay.
Who are these guys anyway?
Nazis from the moon.
That's too much.
That was it for me. I'm like, no, you guys are nuts. I guess that's why a lot of people do refer to you as Nazis. So there you go. There's a collection of the conspiracy theories and the propaganda and the little stories that a lot of Nazis and skinheads actually tell. There are many, many more. There's a lot more. There's some that I left off this list, and I'm sure there's plenty that you've heard. And hey, if you have, and I didn't mention them, please feel free to comment below. Let me know your craziest theory. Thank you so much for listening in for this one. This was a fun one for me, and I hope it was for you. I will see you on the channel next week. And hey, if you want to keep seeing videos like this, lots more coming, what you're going to do is like, subscribe and hit the little bell to get notified. New videos coming out every week. And if you want to support me and support the channel in many different ways, you can do that. Buy me a Pepsi, PayPal donations. You can buy my merchandise that I have available in the store, and memberships on this channel, 99 cents a month. Best rate going around anywhere for a membership. So sign on up. But I will see you next week. Take care. Peace out. Love and light to you. I'll see you on the moon sometime.
To one nation. We march to the beat of...
Wir sehen uns in Valhalla.